Welcome to the Vibrant Visibility Podcast. Being visible as a soul-led business owner isn't just about the practical strategies, marketing tips, and tech systems. It's also about the internal systems, the safety of your nervous system, the somatic connection, and the embodiment of being a badass CEO that will support you in all of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And I'm here to share all of that with you on this show. I'm your host, Shawnee Arsenault, a registered nurse turned visibility coach and business mentor for heart-centered coaches and healers. I created a six-figure coaching practice in my first year of business and scaled to multiple six figures my second year, all in the middle of getting pregnant with my first baby and becoming a new mama. If I can do this entrepreneurship thing, I know you can too. If you're ready to learn how to be a CEO in a way that feels aligned with your heart, become a lighthouse for the people that you're meant to serve, feel free to authentically express yourself and be a magnet for success, and grow your coaching business in a way that is sustainable and fulfilling, I can't wait to be in your ear along for the ride. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Vibrant Visibility Podcast. Today's episode is going to be kind of funny because I historically get so uncomfortable bragging, and I get so uncomfortable when it comes to celebrating myself. Like I have to remind myself to do it often. And even whenever I'm like in session with my mentor, she's always encouraging me to do that. And it just like it still feels uncomfortable. I'm much better at celebrating myself than I used to be. And it's still a very, very awkward thing for me to do. And I'm actually going to go on a rant about that today in today's episode about the humble brag. And I don't want it to be a bad rant. It's actually going to be a good rant. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot because, you know, our clients are always a mirror of us, right? And I have so much trouble celebrating myself. And I think my clients also have a lot of trouble celebrating themselves, especially, you know, as someone who shares vulnerably a lot and who's all about like the raw, the real, the human side of business. I am realizing how many people, including myself, struggle to share the things that are actually going well. And for heart-led business owners, heart-led coaches and healers, we tend to make it feel like selfish or conceited to celebrate ourselves. And so I want to dig into that today. I want to dig into like why do we feel weird about sharing our wins? Why only sharing the hard stuff can also be a warped truth. And I'll share a little personal story too later on about, you know, my own launch prep. I'm launching a course this month. For those of you who don't know, it's really exciting. But I was in a session with my mentor and this came up big, this idea of like bragging and humble bragging. So why are we opposed to bragging? Like, I don't think celebrating ourselves is in conflict with being authentic. In fact, I think not celebrating ourselves actually does a disservice to the people that we're meant to help. And I'm just reflecting on this. Like, I think we've been conditioned as a society to believe that being proud means being egotistical, means being selfish, means being conceited. And especially as heart-centered folks, like there's a collective fear of being too much. And look, I'm all about sharing vulnerable. I'm all about rawness and showing the side of business that isn't sexy, that isn't pretty. But I also think that it's part of being human to share when things are actually working, when things are going well. I do think it's toxic to only share the positive stuff. And I also think it's toxic to only share like the messy, imperfect, negative stuff too. Like we want to have a good balance. Like when you're sharing only the messy things, it can get messy. And like neither extreme is real, right? When we only share the struggle, it kind of can create this sense of like hopelessness in your audience, in the people that are in your world. And then whenever we only share the wins, we only share the positive stuff, it creates this like false sense of expectation. Like there's a warped perception on both ends. You know, if you share all the positive stuff, people think your life is golden and that you don't struggle. And then if you share all of the hard stuff, people might feel like, well, damn, is everything supposed to feel this heavy? Like it can discourage people um from taking the risks that they want to take, or, you know, making the investments that they want to make, or whatever, making whatever decisions they're choosing between. And I'm not saying don't share your lows. Like I do think there's value in sharing the lows, but only once you've processed your emotional somatic response to them, that's when it's useful. right? That's when it becomes medicine instead of a wound, instead of the feel sorry for me and, that kind of energy. So I was on a call with my coach and I'm planning this course launch, right? The course that's launching literally this month. And she asked me, you know, what my fears were about the launch. And, I've been in business for 4 years. I have a lot of experience. I've had some really successful launches. I've had launches that flopped. And there was this fear that came up for me as she asked that of like, am I qualified to teach this stuff? And so she asked me like, well, what makes you qualified? Tell me what makes you qualified. And so I'm just kind of like reliving the moment where she asked me this and I had to list my own receipts essentially. Like I said, how many hours I've coached people. I've coached over 600 hours. I have taught over 250 hours of, visibility, business building, marketing between, this podcast and workshops that I've done and whatnot. I've served over 300 clients. And then this one celebration that I brought up inside of the session gave me like it almost felt weird to say it out loud because this course that I'm launching this month is about visibility, right? It's about visibility strategy. It's a very strategic, practical kind of course. Um, and I'm not talking about like visibility that's going to get you a million followers. I'm not talking about becoming a social media star. I'm talking about visibility that actually converts to paying clients. And the metric that, I came up with that I believe makes me pretty qualified is I've made over $500,000 in my business over the last 4 years with 2,000 followers on Instagram and like an 800 person email list. Like I don't have tens and hundreds of thousands of followers. I don't have a large audience compared to a lot of people out there, but I've been visible so authentically and so intentionally that my audience is saturated with my people. And that's allowed me to make over $600,000 in my business over the last 4 years. And dude, even saying that out loud right now and like saying that out loud in session felt so uncomfortable. She was like, "You should share that." And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to share that. That feels gross." And then I sat with it and, the more I said it out loud, the more comfortable I was with it, the more I was like, actually, yeah, like this is legit. These are legit metrics that like I shouldn't feel ashamed to share. And I don't want it to be all about the money, right? That's not my vibe. That's not the whole picture of what I care about. And honestly, it kind of pisses me off whenever I see other people's marketing that's like very heavily money focused. Um, but it is evidence, right? It does make me feel qualified to teach the shit that I teach. And yeah, it feels weird for me to say that. It feels weird for me to do the humble brag, but talking about it with my mentor really helped me realize like sharing the things you're proud of, sharing your accomplishments, it encourages your clients and your community to do the same, right? It encourages your people to not minimize the things that are going well. And so I think, bragging, even that word, I don't like that word. Maybe there's another word for it. I don't know. But bragging lovingly is a leadership skill. So when you share the things that you're celebrating, you are modeling a reality that people might not yet believe is possible for them. Oof. Your celebration can be a call forward, right? It's not just for you, it helps your audience, your future clients, your community see themselves in you. So, can we reframe the brag? Can we reframe the brag? It's not the like, I'm better than you. It's look at what's possible. Like when you think about a main character in a movie or a show, um, not everything that happens to them is amazing. In fact, they go through a lot of hardship, usually, right? It's like that hero's journey. They go through obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. Sometimes the whole beginning of the movie is them just getting the shit beat out of them by life, roadblock after roadblock. And yet there's always a turn, right? There's always a moment of shift. There's a moment of hope. And that's what makes them the main character. They keep showing up through all the adversity, they grow through it. And if you are the main character of your business, what would your story arc look like right now? Like, what chapter are you in? You might be in a chapter of obstacle, you might be in a chapter of roadblocks, or you might be in a chapter of celebration, you might be in a triumph chapter. And so, honoring whatever chapter you're in actually does a service for your audience. It allows people to see, hey, this person is showing up no matter what chapter of her business, no matter what chapter of her life she's actually in. Maybe I can show up that way too. Maybe it's not a bad thing that I am struggling right now. Maybe it's not a bad thing that I am on top of the world right now. And all of this ties so perfectly into the course that I'm launching this month. So at the end of this month, we start on June 23rd. I'm launching a course called Main Character Marketing Lab. And if this episode is like hitting something in you, I want you to try this. I want you to write down 3 things right now. Take out a piece of paper, pause the episode, write down 3 things that you are proud of right now, things that you have accomplished, metrics that you would be excited to brag about and maybe feel a little bit shy, maybe feel a little bit awkward sharing. Pick one of them and share it with someone. Share it with your biz bestie, share it with your coach, share it with your journal, share it in your stories, share it on social media, share it with your partner. Like, practice sitting with the discomfort of celebrating yourself, right? Notice what comes up in your body whenever you do. And optional little challenge here, if you end up sharing it on Instagram or on socials, make sure you tag me. I want to celebrate the hell out of you. Um, Celebration doesn't make you self-centered. Okay, it makes you self-honoring. Like, you taking up space in your joy is not cringe, guys. It's not cringe. It is sacred. It is part of being human. Part of being human is we get to experience the entire spectrum of emotions, the entire spectrum of life. And so if you want more of this, more of the both and, right? More of the human, more of the being seen as you are, come and join me kind of energy. I would love for you guys to join me in my new course, Main Character Marketing Lab. This is exactly the kind of visibility that we're building. Like I said, it's not the kind of visibility that makes you a social media superstar, that makes you famous on Instagram, right? What I'm teaching here is visibility that allows you not to shrink, that allows you not to hide your light behind disclaimers. It's just you. It's just you taking up space as the main character in your business. So I would love to invite you guys in. The link to join the course is in the show notes. We start on June 23rd. The doors are going to be open from June 16th to June 20th. And there's a special little bonus if you join on launch day on June 16th. Right now, though, add your name to the wait list and be the first to know whenever doors open. I'd love to see you guys there. Okay. Sending you guys so much love and have a beautiful day. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this was helpful for you, subscribe to the show to make sure you're always in the loop when a new episode is out. And I would love to invite you to join me in the free Visibility and Tech Support for Coaches community, where we hang out and chat about all things visibility, tech, systems, and heart-centered business building. I regularly share tips and tutorials and go live every now and then, and it's just nice to be in a community with other like-minded coaches and healers. So you can join this free space at alignwellco.com/community, and I can't wait to see you there.